The Lunar Guardsman. Written by Krimar. Chapter 10. Closing Doors, Part 3. The three young mares felt their hearts beat somewhere between their neck and mouth. They spinned around to see Rigdon, fully armed and armored, tucking the door's keys in his belt. Twilight had to admit, when you were face to face with him like this, knowing he was not currently on your side, he looked much more terrifying. He switched hands on the lit torch he was carrying and pulled out his hammer. He pointed at them with it. "You two," he said coldly to Rarity and Applejack. "Corners. 1 each." Applejack took a step forward. Rarity had frozen in place, her only movement the chattering of her teeth.
"Hang now, big fella. Look, I know what we did was wrong, but..."
"Corners. Now!" Rigdon whispered, harsh and loud. Rarity ran towards the back left, as far away from Rigdon as possible. Applejack gulped and slowly stepped backwards towards the other one. Rigdon finally turned his attention to the last mare in the large cell. "Sit," he told Twilight. There was no reason to fight him on such a simple order. An hour before, she wouldn't. Now, however, she had decided she would no longer bend her head and obey blindly. Not with what she knew.
"You can't keep us in here against our wishes,"
she told him. Rigdon's helm leaned sideways, a gesture betraying his question.
"If I want to, I can teleport my friends and myself outside in seconds,"
she let him know.
"And you can't stop me, so don't try to give orders to me."
Rigdon nodded. A dark chuckle sounded underneath his helmet, chilling Twilight's blood. What did he find so funny? He took a step back and used the bottom of his hammer to strike the iron door behind him 3 times. When the loud noise stopped echoing in the room, he spoke. "Luna."
"Yes?"
Luna's voice came from outside. Oh, this was bad. Twilight didn't expect Rigdon to have her here with him. Still, it didn't change things. Twilight was extremely proficient with the teleportation spell. She should be able to escape even Luna herself. She hoped. "Twilight says she can teleport all 3 of them away. Tell me again, how would you stop her?"
"I would not even attempt to,"
Luna said behind the door. Twilight gulped when she heard her tone. Luna spoke calmly, but there was a fury hiding behind her words.
"I know the teleport spell myself, as well as far more dangerous and painful spells. I also know exactly where Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, and Rainbow Dash are at the moment. So please, by all means, let her know she is free to go anytime she wishes."
"Thank you, Luna." It was the simple and factual way they talked that convinced her. It could be just a bluff. She hoped fervently that it was all just a bluff. Not knowing for sure if it was or not meant that Twilight couldn't risk it. Not when she didn't even know what they were planning to do to them right now. Maybe this was supposed to serve as a warning, to scare them into not talking to Celestia? Twilight sat on the stool. When Rigdon came to stand in front of her, she asked the first question that came to her mind.
"Why is Luna staying outside?"
"Because I begged her to give you a chance," Rigdon answered. He was keeping his voice low on purpose, as if doing his best to refrain from giving in to a mountain of rage and screaming his head off at them. Every word came out as a hiss, distorted almost beyond any recognition from the helmet covering his head. "If it was anyone else but you..." His hand shook, the trembling torchlight making mockeries of everything it illuminated. "Anyone else would be dead now. If Luna didn't kill them, I would. Do you have any idea what you even did?"
"We knew you were..."
"We trusted you!" Rigdon yelled with the full strength of his lungs. "We gave you our trust and you mocked us right behind our backs." He pointed at Applejack with a trembling arm. "One day after you were blustering your speech about trust, you were ransacking through our room. Honesty." He ridiculed. "It's the same thing everywhere. Nothing but a big pile of crap." Applejack lowered her head in shame.
"Don't you dare blame Applejack,"
Twilight yelled.
"That was my decision, and she supported me because she is my friend, and you are a stinking liar."
"Are you actually going to try to turn this around on me while you were caught red-handed?" Rigdon said with sarcasm. Twilight's indignation flared up. She wasn't going to be laughed off or yelled down this time.
You and Luna are building weapons. We saw it.
Raiden rushed forward and ripped the steel samples Twilight was still holding out with her magic grasp violently. Exactly. And you and your friends just frolicked in there, unheeding of the danger. You have absolutely no idea what half of those things were in there, Twilight. One wrong move and... Were you fucking trying to kill yourself? He shouted.
You are the ones who are keeping these kinds of secrets,
Twilight countered.
Don't you dare try to pin this on me. I keep asking and begging for answers, and all I get are half-truths, outright lies, and nothing at all. What do you expect?
She said in indignation. I expected you to show some decency to the fact that we might have a reason we keep things to ourselves, Raiden yelled furious. We have explosives in there, Twilight. Explosives! One wrong spell, one wrong spell, it was all it would take to set them off. Never mind what Celestia would do if she knew. You and your friends would be dead. And the reason we build them is our own. I don't lie about the fact that I have secrets. I've straight out told you that I have them. But you just had to know more, didn't you? He jeered. Twilight took 2 deep breaths to calm herself down a bit. Tears would not help.
You do lie. You lie about everything, always. This stops now.
Twilight revealed the horn they found.
You lied to me,
she whispered savagely.
You made me think I was a horrible, faithless daughter to you. You killed some pony. You were gutting him right in front of me, and you lied and piled guilt I shouldn't feel on me.
She threw the bone in his chest. Rarity and Applejack gasped softly at the disrespect she showed towards the last remains of the unnamed unicorn. Raiden's dark eyes stared at the horn at his feet for a moment, before bringing his armored boot down with a grunt and snapping the object that brought his sins to light in 2. You went through Luna's tower. You went through my room. Do you want to search my pockets too? Or do you want to wait until I am asleep so you can do this also behind my back?
Don't try to guilt trip me. Do not try to change the subject. I want answers. Either you can give them to me or to Princess Celestia.
Twilight threatened him.
Was this the pony who had me full napped?
Raiden loomed threatening over Twilight. Who told you about this? No one should. Shining armor? I can't believe he actually... Twilight pushed him away from her.
Don't try to intimidate me either. I am not scared of you. No, Shiny Armor did not tell me. He wasn't sure himself. He told Applejack what he suspected.
Applejack hushed to whisper at her from the corner. Twilight, I love you like a sister, but please don't put me in the middle of this. Her? Raiden asked, scandalized. The moron talked about something like this with the fucking bearer of the element of honesty? Heavens, does all of Counterlot know already? Hi, Applejack shouted, offended. I didn't tell nobody but Twilight. Just because I like being honest doesn't mean I can't keep a secret.
That's enough,
Twilight shouted them both down.
Tell me now, Raiden. No more avoidances, no more lies, just the truth. For once in your life, what did you do in here?
None of your business, he yelled.
Then it will become Princess Celestia's business unless you tell me.
You think Luna will let you reach her without your friends paying the price? Muffled laughter came out from his iron visage, and Twilight cut short in an instant.
You think Princess Celestia will let Luna get off with a slap on the hoof if she hurts my friends?
She smirked back. That must have wiped the smile off his face. He anxiously looked over his shoulder towards the door. Raiden stared back at her, still as a statue. You want the truth? He asked in a scared whisper after a few seconds.
Yes.
No matter what, even if I believe it's in your best interest not to know?
Yes.
And what if it means my death? Do you still want to know? There was a bright blue line in the light behind Raiden, brighter than anything Twilight had ever seen, leaving the doors locked, dripping in a flow of molten metal. Luna kicked it open and ran inside, sweating and gasping for breath.
That's enough. We are proceeding with the plan, Raiden. They can't know.
For a few gut-wrenching moments, Raiden didn't answer. No.
No? Rigdon, my sister will no longer protect you nor allow me to. They will push for your execution. I am not losing you. Not now.
Luna shouted in anger. She asked for the truth, Luna. I will tell her. She wants my life in her hands. I will let her have it.
Are you insane? You are throwing everything away for what? You think she will understand? She can't. None of them can. All they know is their comfort and perceived safety. You took it upon yourself to stop the monsters preying upon them, and they will hang you for it because you were not up to their impossible standards. That's what they do. She's never made such a harsh choice in her life. She will not understand. Why not?
Twilight challenged. Her blood was boiling, and she took advantage of the boldness her rage was giving her to speak her mind.
You think that I'm an idiot? That I can't understand Rigdon if he tries to talk honestly to me for a change? Do you think you're the only one who deserves to know the truth about him just because you two sleep together?
She erupted. Luna's eyes widened in surprise.
I thought we were keeping our bedroom arrangements a secret.
She hissed at Rigdon sideways. Is she even talking about that, or... Luna brought her hoof down to the floor with force, a sound echoing in a deep, dark dungeon cell.
Enough. The point is moot. By the time I am done with it, it won't matter what they found out.
Rigdon knelt beside Luna and pulled her against him in one-armed hug. Luna, let me do this instead. Please.
They will never trust us, Rigdon, and we can't trust them in turn.
It's Twilight, Luna. If she can't forgive me for this, even a little, then how are we going to accomplish anything? Luna, please.
Rigdon, if they talk, you will be killed. I won't be able to save you. I no longer have the strength to stand alone against my sister. I understand why you hesitate to approve, but this is the only way we can make sure you stay safe.
Luna whispered pleadingly. I know, Luna. It's either me or you taking a fall at this point. Please, let it be me.
This is an attempt to level the field between us once more, isn't it, Rigdon? There is no need. I can...
What if Celestia finds out if you do this? We are not risking you.
No, I had enough of this. I am not losing what little I have left. I will wipe out their...
Luna, Rigdon said with calmness in contrast to Luna's panic. I never told Celestia where the rift currently is. Worst they can do is kill me. But you... Luna trembled and slowly closed her eyes in surrender. Rigdon gently ran his gloved fingers through Luna's mane as he rose up. Twilight, get up and step back. Twilight did as he asked. Rigdon unsheathed one of his daggers and used it as a lever to tilt the stone the stool was standing on. He got a hold of it and pulled it off, revealing a secret stash. Twilight was impressed. She would have never thought to search right below her in the room's middle in a simple hole. She would have searched for magical imprints or secret mechanism, not a hole in the ground. And after seeing the kind of cleanup they performed, she would not have even tried. From the hole, he removed a box filled with papers and a rolled-up canvas.
Rigdon, please don't,
Luna begged. You want the truth, little one? Here it is. He unrolled the canvas in front of her. Inside it, meticulously stashed were a variety of tools. Twilight saw scissors, screwdrivers, hammers, nails, pliers, cutters, saws, files, and a lot of other similar things. Almost all of them were speckled with rust.
What is this?
She asked. Your precious truth. You asked me what I did in here. This is what I did. I tortured and killed 14 ponies, mares, and stallions. Then, I ate most of the remains to dispose of them without being caught. I disguised them as a result of my many hunts. The horn belonged to lucky number 15. I kept them alive in as much horrific, excruciating pain as I could manage for almost a week. I tried for more. I really did. But I ran out of medical supplies. When he couldn't take it anymore, he ended up like the others. I cut him apart, skinned him, ate him. That's who you saw. He pointed at the shattered horn on the ground. Twilight looked back at the sharp instruments. That wasn't rust. She backed away from him. 15 ponies? He did this to 15 ponies. She tried to gulp down something that had gotten stuck in her throat. She couldn't keep her eyes straying to a serrated knife. Some of its teeth had been broken off, and there was something stuck between a few of the rest.
Regden, I can still...
Regden brought a finger to Luna's lips, keeping her from continuing. The truth. Nothing but the truth, he mourned. I made them beg for death, Twilight. I broke their hooves and hammered hot red nails through the cracks all the way to the bone. I smashed and sawed off their horns, ripped off their wings. I plucked out their eyes, I cut off their ears, and I pulled off their teeth one by one. I didn't bother wasting my time doing this to all of them. Most of them were simple thugs, but on a few special occasions, I got really creative. His voice got lower and growling as he recited the torment he brought upon his victims. Twilight could swear she felt a waft of sickening metallic smell coming from the hideous pile of metal instruments. It took all of Twilight's courage and resolve to stop herself from teleporting away that instant from this monstrosity that had taken her stepfather's form, to her friend's side, and to get them out from where this kind of slaughter took place. She still took 2 shaky steps towards them. They were right. Every pony who ever called him a monster was right. She just didn't see it for so very long. She had been so blind because the monster was on her side, wasn't she? He mutilated ponies, he did not care. He did not even try to defend himself. I killed him because he got in my way. I crushed him because he wanted to save his friend. I took him from you because he stopped me. Luna was looking at her with eyes shining away in the flickering torchlight, accusing her silently for the death her following actions would bring on her only friend. Raiden was standing still next to her, his helmet turned away from Twilight, shoulders slumped in defeat. He didn't believe Twilight would hide this from Celestia for him. He had given up and waited for Twilight to run off and bring Celestia's wrath upon him. Once more, he offered no defense, no excuse for himself. Twilight desperately wanted her mentor to help her. This was too much. She loved Raiden to bits once upon a time, but this was 15 deaths they were talking about. This was crime, murder. Worse, he confessed and he called it the truth. The dried blood on the tools he used was proof enough to convince her. But was it the whole truth?
Why?
Why? What? He asked back.
Why did you do this to them? Even if you had a reason to want them dead, even if it was because they were the ones who full-napped me, why did you torture them this way? Why didn't you tell somebody about them instead?
She trembled. She wasn't sure if it was fear or disgust. What the Tartarus was happening. Just earlier today, he... And now... Oh, Celestia. Which was the real one? The father or the monster? Why I never told anyone about them is easy. I have no tangible proof I wish to offer that they did anything at all. All I had to go on was the hints it took me years to assemble, and afterwards, what they screamed in hopes I stop. He was completely indifferent to the horror his words alluded. Luna seemed to worry, but only because he revealed what he did to them, not for his actions themselves. It took me a long time to find the first link in the chain. From then on, everything escalated quickly. The moment I got them in here, they never stood a chance. They told me everything. So I kept moving on, from one to the next, until I got every single one of them. No matter where they hid, or who they were, magical defenses and alarms were a joke, and no bodyguard of theirs ever saw me coming. He chuckled humorously. You ponies barely know anything about stealth if it doesn't involve invisibility and silence spells. Hell, I only delayed because I needed to rationalize my absences from the castle when I went after them by leaving on a hunt, and all the meat took a while to finish off. Twilight heard Rarity behind her throw up.
And all that torture and killing, because they full-napped me? 15 ponies dead in such a horrible way because you didn't trust Princess Celestia to find proof? To bring them to justice?
Partially. But also because I am guilty of the same crime your brother is. We both prefer to keep a secret from her, rather than hurt her by letting her know about something she can't help with, or facts that would only bring her pain, even if she would be aware of them. Go ahead and ask him if he has told her about the bribed guards yet. He raised his head away from the floor and at her direction. And as far as I'm concerned, I was justice enough for those bastards. Anything else but me was a mercy they didn't deserve.
Princess Celestia knows about the phone nappings, so that's a load of horse apples,
Twilight said harshly.
You are hiding something else. Tell me,
she demanded. There was a slight hesitation. Fine. He motioned towards Applejack and Rarity. You two can come near now. He bent down and started searching through the papers in the box.
I should have you bite it off,
Luna muttered. I'm sorry, Raiden said, distracted.
You forced me to do it when I broke our promise the first time. You are killing yourself as surely as tying a rope around your neck. You should bite off one from your side,
Luna groused. Raiden waved his right hand in the air, palm and fingers spread open. Tell you what, when they run off to your sister, I'll tear off the whole hand with my teeth. It'll help me fill the time until Celestia comes here to chain me up. He returned to his search as Luna narrowed her eyes at him. Twilight was perplexed by the whole exchange. There were whole layers of meaning in those few short sentences they kept exchanging, hints at the most strange relationships and their precious secrets. Trying to resolve them would distract her from the task at Hoof, however, so she chose to ignore them. After a few seconds of sorting through, Raiden had pulled a small stack together. Here you go, little one. He threw a paper out of the thin stack at her hooves.
Don't call me that.
Raiden bowed his head at her clipped tone.
What's this?
She asked. You. Twilight brought the paper in front of her, Applejack and Rarity reading along from her sides. There was a small photo included. It depicted a young unicorn filly with a white coat and pink mane. The document was filled with personal info, name, cutie mark, not earned yet, parents, age, just 11 years old, residence, an accounting of her disappearance. It was a page of a missing pony's report. Poor little filly, but what did this have to do with her? And why did she look vaguely familiar?
I think you mixed up your pages there. That's not mine,
Twilight said. No? Raiden questioned with vague surprise. Are you sure? Well, maybe it's this one then. A young Pegasus mare, 14 years old, cutie mark of a sun bursting through the cloud, light pink coat with two-colored mane of white and yellow. How about this one? Are you sure this isn't you? Or maybe this one? One of these two, maybe. Unicorn filly, 11 years old, Pegasus, 13, Earth pony, 12 years old. Another unicorn, 13 years old too.
I don't understand. None of these have anything to do with my phone napping. Will you stop with your riddles and tell me straight out what this is about?
Twilight complained. You are right, little one. None of those girls is you. The reason is, I saved you. Raiden pushed his finger against Twilight's forehead, below her horn. Twilight knocked it away with a hoof.
That's your defense? You saved me from getting lost like these poor fillies, and that means what you did is excused?
Rarity was still looking transfixed at the first report.
What happened to them? Why do you keep these?
She asked in a whisper. Raiden went back to digging through the box. He paused to take off his helmet and gloves, letting Twilight to see his face. He didn't look good. There were lines all over his face. Twilight noticed a new hoof-sized bruise on his cheek. You have a little sister, I think, he asked without looking. His fingers were dancing on the edges of the folders, their dexterity separating pages and thumbing through them at amazing speed.
Yes, Sweetie Belle,
Rarity answered warily. She was still afraid, but her fear had been tempered by her curiosity. Does she look a lot like you?
We are sisters,
Rarity simply said. Raiden finally found what he was looking for. He gave another few pages to Twilight. Keep her at Ponyville. I can't know about the rest of the large cities, but if something like this has happened right under Celestia's nose in Canterlot, it's almost impossible to say that something like this could happen to her now. But why take the risk? Orphanage reports this time. Twilight skimmed them quickly.
These have nothing to do with the missing fillies,
Twilight said.
or me.
They don't, Raiden asked. She really disliked the way he fed her little nuggets of information, keeping her on edge. It was frustrating her and making her anger fade away. He always did that. Whenever he had something to teach her, he brought her slowly to understanding with questions, inching her closer and closer to the answer.
No, they don't. These are all about Newborn Falls.
Compare the dates, Rigdon instructed her. Twilight put the files next to each other, doing as he said. They were not the same, none of them were. She was missing something. What was she supposed to try to find out? Were these falls related in some way? Rarity gasped beside her. She was still holding the first page Rigdon handed them. Her eyes were flickering in a panic from the page to another that Twilight was holding in her magic. Twilight compared the dates. Still not the same. There was a difference of little over 11 months. Her blood went cold at the same moment her stomach churned in disgust.
No. This can't be true. This abomination can't happen in Canterlot.
She refused to believe what she was seeing. This was sick. This was grotesque. This was... Applejack was grinding her teeth in righteous anger as Rarity whispered what she had figured out in her ear. Twilight could barely contain her tears.
Why? How could somebody do something like this?
Rigdon collected the condemning papers out of Twilight's trembling magic hold and back into the box. Pretty fertile young mares. Some of them with extraordinary physical attributes. Horns longer than normal, large wings, a Weber's symbol for a cutie mark, light coloring. He looked at Twilight. Magical strength far beyond what's normal, and young enough to have multiple tries at a perfect newborn. At least that was the excuse for some of them. For others, it was just for the fun of it. I've told you before, little one. Life's not fair. Oh, Celestia. Oh, Celestia, no. This was what they had in store for her back then. This is what they did to those poor fillies.
What happened to them?
She croaked out. This could have been her. She felt bile rise up from her throat. Rigdon shrugged. I took too long for most of them. One of them smashed her own head open just as soon as I untied her. I didn't stop her. Another one committed suicide the day after I left her at home. Two of them are in a mental hospital. One of them is catatonic. I can't just go and ask about them, but I don't think they've gotten any better yet. I doubt they ever will. They had been used for years.
What about the other two?
Applejack asked. They seem to be coping so far. I had them swear not to tell what happened to them. In return, I promised them I'd make sure this would not happen again. And I did. And some financial aid for them and others of their families. I check up on them from time to time. It helps them stay sane if they have someone to vent to.
You saved them.
Birdie breathed in amazement. Rigdon picked up his helmet again. He didn't put it back on. He kept it in front of him, examining it. He pricked up one of the fingers of the central horn, a drop of red blood crawling down on it. Not much of a rescue, was it? He said with another one of his shrugs. Too little, too late. He added in a brooding whisper.
You still didn't completely explain why you never told Princess Celestia about this,
Twilight pointed out. What? Is it so hard for you to believe that I was reluctant to go up to her and say, Hey Celestia, I killed a few more of your subjects right behind your back. 15 of them. Catch you later. What would it serve anyway? They were dead, and she would only blame herself when she had no way of knowing. There are things going on that she doesn't know about. She has no way to know about. Too many lies, interests, and people. Between her and those who need her. I have no idea about most either. But I have more experience than her in what dark crap people can get into. And I'm a really suspicious bastard. Maybe I should have kept one of them alive and faced the punishment for my actions. I realized that later. But you know, moron. He shrugged. Now I can't prove crap, and I have no idea about the connections with other nasty businesses that were implicated into because I didn't think to ask well. I can't imagine something worse than this is going on. Not that even I expected to see this happen here. but that doesn't mean they are less bad either. Yeah, I'd rather rip out my own heart than to see her expression when she hears about all of that," he finished bitterly. He kicked the box back into the hole. "There's your whole truth, Twilight. At least as far as you are getting. I am not giving you names. There are some secrets that are not mine to give. Now that you got most of what you wanted, what are you going to do?" he asked her. That was a good question. What was she going to do? Twilight pulled the girls back to discuss their next move under a silent spell. Luna finally approached Raiden and sat next to him. They both looked ready to wait for an eternity for Twilight and her friends to come into a decision. How did the tables turn like that from a few minutes ago? When had they stopped being the accused and become judge, jury, and executioner?
"This doesn't make it right,"
Verity told them.
"I know I wouldn't say the same if there had been Sweetie Belle. That unicorn filly looks so much like her. I really want to keep my mouth shut and let him get away with it, but..."
"Rules are there for a reason,"
Applejack grumbled.
"Yes, on the other hoof, those girls wouldn't share the same opinion, would they? Or their families?"
Verity wiped a tear.
"It's so easy to say what he did was right or what he did was wrong. I wish I knew for sure which one it was. It's so hard to tell when the decision is on you."
"I know.
Applejack agreed.
It sickens me to think what those poor girls went through. Their families losing them to that. I wouldn't stoop to torture, but if I had those responsible right there in front of me, I think I'd be guilty for murder too. What he did, however, that wasn't right either. There's a thing called due process, right?"
"Yes,"
Twilight said.
"he has no proof that what he did was excused. He didn't have the right to do those horrible things. Torture is not accepted by Princess Celestia's laws for any reason, and even if they were, it would be by her permission alone. By all accounts in the court of law, he would be found guilty."
Twilight kept her stare at the floor. She didn't want to look towards Raiden or Luna. She didn't want to make this kind of judgment.
"Would he?"
Verity wondered.
"What do you mean?"
"Well, he doesn't have any solid proof that those ponies were guilty. At least, none that he is willing to give. On the other hoof, there is no proof that he actually did anything, is there? He made sure of it."
Verity noted.
"What about these tools?"
Applejack pointed towards the still rolled out canvas.
"Bloody knives in a room he uses to butcher animals he catches for meat.
Verity was thoughtful.
I doubt Luna would let it pass as concrete evidence. I don't know if they can figure out who the blood was belonged to, however." "They can't,"
Twilight said.
"not after so much time. The spells won't detect anything."
She kept thinking of Raiden letting Spike climb on his shoulders, laughing as he threw him on the mattress, only for Spike to start climbing all over him again. Spike's little claws cut him a little sometimes, but Raiden never complained. He just kept playing with him, keeping the baby dragon busy and entertained.
"There are fillies he rescued,"
Applejack reminded them.
"Yes, everything would rather depend on them, wouldn't it? What do you think they would do?"
Verity asked. Applejack took off her hat and gave it a brief pat to clear some dust that wasn't there before putting it back on.
"Probably not condemn the guy who saved them from all that."
"So, all we have for Sen is his own confession. We could try to give him in. We would probably succeed. No pony would take his word over ours, would they?"
Verity asked for confirmation she didn't really need. They all knew what would happen if Twilight would point to him and cry out murderer.
"That wouldn't be right either, would it?"
Applejack kicked to the floor in frustration.
We would be throwing him to the wolves, and they would eat him up just because they don't like him or Luna, not for what he did or didn't do.
"Which means there wouldn't be much of a fair trial for him."
Verity huffed.
"There wasn't any kind of trial for any of those mystery ponies either."
Applejack reminded Rarity.
"Just his own brand of vigilantism. But you're right. It ain't sticking right with me to do near the same with him."
"You don't want to give him in either, do you?"
Verity whispered shamefully.
"After seeing the picture of those fillies and knowing what happened to them? No. I might change my opinion later, when it really hits me what he did to all those ponies. But right now, I want to pat him in the back and say good job. Twilight, if we tell Celestia about this, what will she do?"
"I don't know."
Twilight confessed.
"She will probably imprison him and start an investigation. She will do her best to give him a fair trial, which means she might distance herself away from it so she won't influence it to his advantage either. Or she might support him. I can't know for sure. Not anymore. And while she does that, what will Luna do?
Verity asked. Twilight tried to estimate the Alicorn's actions.
She will try to get him out in all likelihood. Support him. Whatever little leeway she still has will get torn apart in the process if she defends these kind of actions. And she will. There will be a rift with her sister again. I just know it. And without Raiden or us on her side, I doubt she will even want to see us after this. Whoever wants her dead.
They pondered the implications of their decision in silence. Verity listed their options.
So, if we stay silent, we let him get away with torture and murder of 15 ponies. We would become accomplices in a way, actually. If we talk, he will end up dead. Either by law or some knife in the back. Luna might end up the same way, or worse. We could get another incident similar to Nightmare Moon again, right?
If we end up getting him killed,
Updike asked disbelievingly.
she's gonna have the guts of every pony involved. I don't think Raiden's gonna allow her to do anything risky to herself or us. But the moment he is dead and gone, she's gonna go berserk. I'm sure.
We're not telling any pony. Not yet.
Twilight suddenly decided. It was as if light guided her path. There was only one way out of this that she could see, and she would follow through. She brought her silence down and marched in front of the waiting pair. She would do the right thing this time. No more hiding behind her hoof. Raiden kept telling her all the time. Well, now she believed him. Even if he saved those girls, that had to be an accident. He wouldn't do this for them. There was no true pity or kindness in his heart. He just pretended, always acting, always wearing a mask over another mask. She was certain that she knew what hid beneath all his lies now. A monster. If Rainbow Dash wasn't her friend, he would have just broken her, just like a leaf stream. If Pinkie Pie wasn't one of her friends, he would have let her die. If Rarity wasn't one of her friends, he would have killed her for entering his armory. If Applejack wasn't her friend, he would have killed her too for knowing his secret. This creature belonged in this very cell, with the doors locked and barred, never allowed to see daylight again.
We will continue as we were, as if nothing ever happened. We will keep helping you for Luna and Celestia's sake. Here's the trade-off. The moment that Luna's position is secure, when you are both safe and we can be certain there will be a fair trial, you will confess to Princess Celestia. There will be no more secrets like this from you.
Twilight laid down her terms. Luna motioned to protest, but was stopped by Raiden. Agreed, little one, he said with quiet sincerity. Twilight narrowed her eyes.
Don't call me that. Not anymore. Maybe you were right in doing that, or maybe you were not. I can't believe a liar like you that every single one of them deserved everything of what you did to them. And even if they did, you had no right. I can't even trust your word that any of this happened. If those girls even existed or that madness happened to them. I won't be the one to decide though. But what I know is that you lied to me. You hurt me. You threatened my friends and you tried to force me to choose between you and what I was taught to believe in. I will not forgive you for any of this. And I'm not going to cover for you anymore, or turn a blind eye to what you do. The slightest suspicious activity from either of you, and I'll let Princess Celestia know everything.
Little Twilight, I'm sorry.
No, you are not.
Twilight breath hitched in her throat.
You are sorry that I now understand what you really are, not for what you did.
Twilight turned her back on Luna.
Let's go. We need to be up early tomorrow to tackle the last few chores, and Rarity still has to prepare herself for tomorrow's dance with Prince Blueblood. Unless you change your mind, Rarity? No, I will go ahead with it.
Twilight led her friends out, slamming shut the heavy door behind her. Raiden and Luna kept their heads low as they left. She heard it yell for her when they had almost reached the stairs heading up to the upper dungeons. Twilight, please don't tell Little Flame. Or Little Pink. Twilight! Twilight! She didn't bother answering back to the thing. It was longer than an hour afterwards that the silence broke in the dank cell. Don't think I didn't notice you hiding your horn behind me.
I would have told you. I wasn't going to hide this from you.
I know. It's fine, Luna.
They would have told Celestia. Twilight wasn't sure what to do and believed that she would know what's been happening behind her back. By everyone.
I know. It's okay, Luna. I don't blame you. Did you make her hate me? Would she have forgiven me otherwise?
I don't know. Mind control is a misnomer. I put some dams in a river of their thoughts. I don't take over the consciousness, not unless I have no other choice.
At least, she won't suspect we did this to them. Not if it ended this way for me.
I'm sorry. Maybe she will change her mind, or I could give it another shot later on.
Don't. I don't need their love. I'll be fine.
She might talk later, or her friends might.
I don't think so. If they didn't go for it now, still, putting some inhibitions about it on them would not be amiss. You need to put some more dams about this on Shining Armor. Maybe reinforce those on him already too.
First thing tomorrow. I feel as if time is pressing us. Celestia suspects too much. She's just stalling like she always does. We can't win against her. Not on our own while she still has the element in her guards. Law and justice lie in the hooves of those who have power to force it, and right now she is the absolute law. We only get one chance, Rigdon.
We can't afford to wait or rely on the girls alone. I think we should start Plan B in the meanwhile.
That's a risk. Plus, we will need to waste time to train them.
We would need to train them anyway, even if they were guards. We have to make soldiers out of them. Besides, they might turn out more loyal to you if we work extensively on them. Let's just start scouting them out. If the girls' ways work out, we will have our forces complete even faster.
I will begin tonight. Can we head to bed now?
Sure. Do you think they can find those who keep trying to kill us?
Not unless we let them. I've done some work on Rarity already. She will fail.
Rainbow Dash?
We will let her do her part and tell Shining Armor everything she finds out. Yeah, we're both ours, practically. We might learn something new and interesting.
Luna,
Yes?
it hurts. Wow, what in absolutely one, first of all, this was hard to do because switching up so many voices. Second, Lord, what the hell? Wow, that was a lot that just happened. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Also, yelling as Raiden is really difficult, and then switching back to my regular voice, going from this to this is not difficult, but going from this to this is a little more, or Twilight's voice god. Voice acting aside, however, I hope you guys have enjoyed. What I do enjoy, however, are thanking my absolute homicidal maniacs / vigilante Patreons. Thank you my Patreon, Squall Windfeather, Wandy La Paz, Starlight Blaze, Dreamless Portal, and Rainflicker. My Tier 2, Sword Brethren Mordred, Danish Dash, Nocturne, Solus, RD Bryant, Captain Blue Shadow, HKH4 aka Texture, and The Animated Ghost. And of course a large thank you to Silent Titan. I appreciate you guys' support so much, it means a ton to me. Anyways, this has been Firehearth. Have a wonderful day.